Do you want to do roll call, please?
Board Member Wangler. Here. Board Member Jansen.
Here.
Board Member Wool. Here. And Board Member Clark.
Here.
Okay, our agenda, Jennifer Clark has been reappointed to the Board of Adjustment, so congratulations.
Thank
We will-
you.
We will hold on item B, the Board of Adjustment terms and oath of office, until next meeting. We will do item C, election of officers. So floor is open for nominations.
Board Member Jansen, do you want to, just for the record, reiterate who is currently the chairman and who is the vice chairman?
Okay. Ms. Clark is the chairperson, chairwoman. Seifert is the vice. And the other ones are just at large.
Thank you.
I'd like to nominate Ms. Clark for chair and Mr. Seifert for vice as they currently serve.
I would second.
Okay. We need to take a roll call on that? Okay.
Board Member Wangler.
Yes.
Chair Jansen.
Yes.
Board Member Wool.
Yes.
And Board Member Clark.
Yes.
Thank you. Next order of business is the approval of the meeting minutes from December 5th, 2024.
I would make a motion to approve as distributed.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded.
Board Member Wangler.
Yes.
Board Member Jansen.
Yes.
Board Member Wool.
Yes.
And Board Member Clark.
Yes.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is the Ponderosa Riverside Village variance. Staff can come to present.
Chairman, I'm not able to hear.
Is the mic on?
My apologies. Can you hear me now?
I can, thank you.
Okay, I'll start over. Thank you. Board members, Jeff Simons is requesting approval of a variance from section 140401(3) of the City Code of Ordinances, rural residential lot area for Lot 10, Block 9, Ponderosa Riverside Village, in order to construct a single-family dwelling on the property. The proposed variance is located northwest of Bismarck, west of River Road, and west of Burnt Creek Loop along the north side of Ponderosa Avenue. The property was zoned rural residential and platted as a 26,005 square foot lot in April of 1963. Changes to the lot boundary to increase or decrease the size have not occurred since the property was platted. The city obtained zoning jurisdiction when the ETA was expanded to this area in 1983. The minimum lot size for a parcel located within the rural residential zoning district and platted prior to 2003 is 40,000 square feet. Properties smaller than 40,000 square feet may not meet the minimum parcel size requirement for a septic system according to the North Dakota State Plumbing Code. The building official has indicated that if the variance is approved as proposed and prior to issuing a building permit for the proposed single-family dwelling, it must be determined that soil on this site will support the installation of a private sewage disposal system system, and that the lot has sufficient area to support the installation of a second sewage disposal system should the first ever fail. There are existing single-family dwellings in this neighborhood within this subdivision that are less than 40,000 square feet. Most of those were constructed prior to the city obtaining zoning district jurisdiction of this area. There are a few that were constructed after, and staff can affirm that a variance was issued to allow the construction of a single-family dwelling on a lot less than 40,000 square feet for the property at 6045 Ponderosa Avenue in 1995. A copy of the variance approval letter was included in your packet. Hay Creek Township was notified of this request on February 13th, and 57 postcards were mailed to the owners of properties within a quarter mile of this request on February 21st. We have received written comments. Those were distributed to you this morning prior to this evening. Additionally, Hay Creek Township has also submitted a resolution. Pursuant to Section 140602 of the City Code of Ordinances, the Board of Adjustment may vary or adjust the strict application of any of the requirements in the zoning ordinance in case of exceptionally irregular, narrow, shallow, or steep lot or other exceptional physical or topographical conditions, by reason of which the strict application of the provisions of the zoning ordinance would result in an unnecessary hardship that would deprive the owner of reasonable use of land or building, but in no other case. No adjustment in the strict application of any provisions of the zoning ordinance shall be granted by the board unless it finds the following: that there are special circumstances or conditions that apply to the land or buildings that do not apply generally to land or buildings within the neighborhood and have not resulted from an act of the applicant, that the strict application of the provisions of the zoning ordinance would deprive the applicant of reasonable use of said land or building, and granting the variance is necessary for the reasonable use of land or building, and that the variance as granted by the board is the minimum variance that will accomplish the relief sought by the applicant. That the grant of the variance will be in harmony with the general purposes of and intent of the zoning ordinance and will not be injurious to the neighborhood or otherwise detrimental to public welfare. The applicant has submitted a written statement that identifies their anticipated hardship and explains why they believe the variance should be granted. The document was also included in your packet. If you choose to approve the variance as proposed, staff asks that you identify a hardship, modify the review standards or findings outlined in your staff report to support your decision. I believe the applicant is here this evening if you have any questions of them, but before they approach, do you have questions of me?
I do have a question for Brady on the septic system. So if the variance was granted, they'd still have to meet the requirements to be able to handle the septic system, correct?
That is correct.
Otherwise, no building permit would be issued.
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
I have a question also on the attachments on.
Let me turn your mic on, Al.
I have a question on the staff recommendation. It says attachments, there's a zoning plan and reference map, a written statement of hardship, proposed site exhibit, and a variance approval letter, a 1995 variance approval letter. Not sure, did I miss that one? Oh, I'm sorry, that's the one that was given by Clot to Jack Hagedis. Okay, so. Okay.
Any other questions of staff? Okay, if not, we'll continue. The applicant that submitted this and who's representing this applicant, if you'd like to come forward and shed some more light on this variance, we would entertain that. Please state your name for the record.
Good afternoon. Jeff Simmons is my name.
Thank you. What else can you tell us that would be help us out on this one?
I'm not sure that I could tell you any more than, what I've got written there. I am available to answer any questions you might have. I think some key points, I guess, for me was that the lot was platted, long before the rules were written. And in that particular development, there's a number of lots that are the same size or smaller that have the structures on them, buildings on them. I would have a question, and maybe that's a Brady question. If the soil wouldn't pass that, is an enclosed tank acceptable that you can pump for septic?
I guess excuse me. I don't recall ever issuing a permit for just a tank for a permanent residence like this in the past, but I know there are some allowances for storage tanks if they have certain hold capacity for other structures, but it's certainly something I guess we could consider. I guess my question would be, is this a permanent residence where it's going to be occupied every day, or is it a seasonal residence?
It would be a permanent residence.
Yeah, then I guess ideally we would want a system to be installed to where a treatment area would be on site, but certainly if soil conditions are such, I believe our policy, the way it was written, would be that a soil could support a system to be installed and not particularly just a tank.
But you're not ruling out a tank, is that what I'm hearing? If the capacity meets the number of bedroom home that's being built?
With not having this question before, I mean, looking through our policy, the policy clearly states that we would have a site that could support a system and have two essentially spaces for a treatment area to be placed. So I would say a tank wouldn't be acceptable per our current policy.
So that may either be another variance or a request? Is that just asking the question? The other, I don't know what, you probably can't say, but I'm assuming if the soil conditions were right in that development, chances are they're going to be good enough on that particular lot. But that would require a test. Is that a soil test needed, or?
Yeah, so the way that our policy is written, they would require a soil test to be completed by a certified soil classifier. It's common practice for us to have that on any septic system that we approve. The difference here is that it does require that a second system and the location of a second system be shown on a site plan. So we would want those things taken care of before we issue any permit.
Thank you. I don't think I have anything else to add unless you have,
Any questions for,
other than possibly a rebuttal to statements, but.
any more questions for Jeff?
Yes, what's your role in this? You're not the owner?
I'm not the owner. I've got an offer contingent on a variance being granted, an offer to buy.
Okay, so you're not the owner
Correct.
currently?
Currently not the owner.
Okay. Oh, you're making the offer to buy?
I'm making the offer
Okay,
to
I
buy. So
understand.
I have an offer
was-
that's been accepted contingent on a variance being
Sure.
granted.
Okay, thank you.
And also an affidavit from the owner saying I can represent him, on that property in front of the Board of Adjustment. I did inquire on this property, 3 or 4 years ago and was told it didn't meet the square feet ordinance to build. And since then, dug a little deeper and learned I could come in front of you guys and ask for a variance. So that's why I'm here today.
What's your, assuming you get the variance, what's your intended use of the property? Is it for your own use, or are you planning to put up a spec home, sell it to somebody else, or?
Put a home on. My son will likely move in there, is the plan.
Sure.
So long-term after that, I don't know, but it's
That's kind of the immediate plan.
immediate plan, yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
And I believe the requirements for backyard, front yard, and side yard, with the size structure I plan to put on there, it'll meet all those requirements, so.
Any other questions?
All
Thank
right.
you very much.
I appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we'll open it up for public comments. We'd like you just to come up and state your name for the record and state your piece.
What's my time limit?
I don't know if we have a time limit, do we? Not usually, we don't.
Okay, my name is Christian Kostelnik. I live at 5404 Ponderosa. I want to get that on record because I did not receive a letter that this was happening, and I live right next to it. So basically, I just have a few bullet points. I got a couple letters from my neighbors that couldn't be here, signed and dated. I don't know if you want me to read them or if you guys just want to look them over yourself. Where's my paper? Sorry. Anyways, I bought the property at 5404, 2019. I had inquired a couple times on that property, was assured that there was no septic that was able to be built there. Putting this house there, the reason why I enjoy where I live is the privacy I'm admitted. And putting this house there is going to greatly affect that. It's going to put someone within earshot of both of my bedrooms. And I have 3 dogs. They're going to be barking all the time. And I don't think 8 feet is enough of dirt because we are higher up than this property. So the runoff is going to be a huge problem for this property. My other main concern is whoever wrote up this project area here, this right here is well over my property line here. So I am not sure if that's just in general or if that is what they're purposely trying to do there. I am not sure, but that's on my property line there. So
excuse me, the trees are on your property line?
you see this yellow line right here? That's right on top of my property line there.
That would be on the west side of the tree line then?
Correct. Yep.
And what we're showing is on the east side of the tree line.
This is my property right here. And this yellow line goes over my property line here.
Okay?
Anyways, also 2011 flood, that place was destroyed with water, so I don't think 8 feet would be enough dirt. You're gonna have to have it higher, because we're gonna be more than 8 feet up also. Anyways, I just had a couple letters, a couple of my neighbors that couldn't make it. My one right behind me, which is on the other side of this property, had written this letter. They said, this is from Travis and Alicia Joritz. They are on 5444 Ponderosa. They say, sorry we couldn't be in attendance as we've had vacation plans scheduled for a long time. Let it be known that we, Travis and Alicia Joritz, disagree with this variance request. We purchased our home October of 2003. At that time, and ever since, the understanding was that this listed property was not allowed to have septic, and therefore the potential for building on it did not exist. The property is basically our front yard. Building a home on said property would be a complete nuisance to our property from loss of view, increased noise, additional traffic, privacy, and the drainage onto our property. Mr. Jess Simmons, the person requesting the variance, told me directly his intention is to elevate this said property 8 feet, which will be above our drain field and the elevation of our front yard. Furthermore, a dwelling on this property will decrease our property value. This neighborhood has always had known requirements for building a property within this subdivision, and thus is why we purchased our home and have lived here for over 20 years. We've tried purchasing
Chris,
this.
excuse me.
Yeah.
We have that letter.
I know, but I made a copy for you.
Yeah, we have the letter
You
in
have
our
it?
packet. Yeah, we have read
You
this.
have it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Then I don't-
just so you know.
Do you want me to continue to read it, or?
No,
No,
need
don't,
to.
I don't
We-
have to, no.
Right, yeah, we
Okay.
have it.
There
Thank
is
you,
one
though.
more letter that I don't think you did receive. This is from my neighbor Tracy and Michael Middow. They did not get it in by 8 o'clock. I don't know if you want a copy or not.
Yeah, the deadline's 8 o'clock in the
Okay,
morning.
so you don't accept it after that, right?
Correct.
Great, okay. Anyways, that is basically my biggest concern. I love our trees there. We're gonna lose all our trees with the new house there on that line, so that's basically my biggest concern, so. And then I wasn't contacted about it. I found out about it through my neighbors that,
Well, they do mail out cards.
well, yes.
And so forth, and I can contest that, concur that there's mail I don't receive in a timely manner.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I've had many things show up late, so I know they do their due diligence to send it out
Right.
to everyone within a quarter mile. And if you didn't get it, I mean, it'll probably
I
show up
mean-
after the meeting.
That's fine, but I
But-
mean, like,
Yeah.
I am right next door, so
Yes.
I'm pretty important to know that,
Yes,
so.
I agree.
But thank you for your time.
You bet. Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Dan Stevenson. I have property at 5590 Ponderosa Avenue. I've been out in Ponderosa since '73, so the idea of a tank for storage of sewer was nixed years ago by Harry Berg wanted to put a tank in for sewer on a lot that he had down by the river that wasn't big enough to build on, and back then that was already squashed at one point. So I have a couple of questions about something about the hardship. I don't know what the hardship would be. You just kind of mentioned that when you were going that there's some sort of hardship to be able to use this lot. I don't know what that would be. Also, the flood in 2011, that was the mosquito collector. And I really don't think that getting a sewer in there is going to be, I just don't think it's going to work. There's going to be another driveway there. So there's going to be Kristen's driveway, there's going to be this driveway, and then there's going to be the George driveway, and they kind of seem to be, I don't know if that's a big deal or not. So I don't know. I kind of wonder about the 2,000 square feet. Yeah, that's the original lot. What happens to the other lots that aren't sold in Ponderosa, that people bought 2 lots at one time? And what happens if this doesn't get approved? What happens to those lots that these people bought that are still a part of the original plot? You know, what happens to them? So there's 2 sides of this story here. So it's a part of the original plot, and that's all fine and dandy, but the situation of the lot, I think, has just got something to be really considered. I just don't think it's a buildable lot, not based on the skies. Just it's a hole. And if they were going to put this, I don't know, 8 feet of dirt or whatever that's going to put in there, is that house then going to be on a hill, kind of over there? I don't know. So there you go. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? That's-
Yeah, my name is Al Weiss. I've been living out in Ponderosa since '88. My wife's been living out there since '79, I believe. And we own half-acre lots as well. But we wouldn't think about building on the son of a gun because, for one thing, I just don't think that's enough property to put in a drain field. So we do have 2 half-acre lots but behind our home. But the one that they're talking about building on, there's no way in the world that that's ever going to work for a drain field. For the simple reason, in the flood in 11, that son of a gun was full of water. There's no way that that land can sustain a drain field, especially with all fill dirt. I honestly don't believe that that'll accommodate it. I mean, you have to stop and look at that from the side of, you know, public safety, for Christ's sake. Where's the water going to go? I gotta agree with Christian. I think that that's not a buildable lot. I mean, I know ours are full half-acre lots, and I would not want to build on either half. I'd have to combine them to build, and that's the way it should be. Get a full acre out there, fine. There's only one house that I know that is setting on about a 3/4 acre, but they got a variance for it back in the day. There's very little land that you could actually build on out there anymore, except for probably my lot or Dan's excess lot. Other than that, I don't think there is any. So that's about all I've got to say. I just don't think that's very feasible to put in a drain field, especially a secondary one. Never happened.
Can I ask you a question now?
Sure.
I wasn't here in 2011,
Yeah,
so when it flooded out there,
yes,
did you get flooded?
yes.
You
I
had
had a
water all over your
6 foot, I had a
property?
6 foot dike around my house.
Okay,
I had 5.5 feet of water on one side, 4.5 on the other. And my lot is about 3 times higher than that one that they're gonna build on. I mean to tell you, my lot is the highest, one of the highest lots out there. No way, never happened. 3.5 months I had water on that lot. There's no way in the world that that's ever gonna sustain a drain field. I'm just telling you a fact. That's all I got.
thank you.
Hi, I'm Dolly Brandley, and I've lived out there with Al and Dan about the same years. And I agree with them. There's no way that lot was completely filled with water during the flood, as we all had dikes around our houses. I don't understand all the acreage and stuff, but I did submit an email, and I just want to say that I agree that there is no way, absolutely no way, that there can be a drain field and that built up for that to be a house on there. And as far as, it's going to encroach on the neighbors way, way, way too much. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address this? If not, we will close the public comment timeframe. Oh. Sure.
Hi, I did talk to Travis yesterday and talked a little bit about his concerns. And I believe the yellow line that 5404 is referring to, simply just a measurement arrow. It's not a lot line or a build line or anything like that. It's just shows the distance or the depth of the lot, just for your advantage. As far as the sewer goes, or drain field, that would have to be approved, so that feels like, it feels like that's a reason for needing that approval, is all the concern. So I don't think we're encroaching on anybody's property, staying, the setbacks that are required and where we can put it. It's a hole, so there's fill needed. There won't be a city permit issued unless it's above the flood zone, so it would take that much fill to get it above the flood zone. So I don't, what happened in 2011 certainly could happen again, but a structure would be above that, no need of dike. It'd be built at, what's 6444, I can't remember what the
2 feet
number
above.
is. Right, so it would all be, those things would be taken care of. it would displace water. It'd displace it over, you know, I don't know how many acres. A lot of that water comes from the south, so you're displacing that water. It's not going to the neighbors. It's, you know, being spread out. So I think all of that takes care of itself. So it's a matter of, you know, building a house on a property that I think, my estimation, seven other homes in Ponderosa have property smaller than that. So so I don't know that it devalues anything, but that's just my comment. So thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. All right. We will close the public comments this time. So what are the wishes of the board?
This is Jen.
Okay,
I would make a motion to deny the request for variance.
okay. Motion to deny, is there a second? Okay, hearing no second, motion fails. Entertain another motion.
Chairman,
Yes.
can I ask a couple more questions of Brady?
Sure.
Brady, I know there's a, 1663 or something limit that you gotta be in Bismarck to build. Is that the same in the county,
So
or whatever that number is?
yeah, so the base flood elevation is gonna change wherever you're at on the Missouri River or on that flooding source. So, yes, it's the same in the county. The floodplain elevations are the same throughout Burley County. As far as we all use the same map, the same flood insurance rate map. The freeboard requirement that we have is 2 feet. So any construction that would take place on this site would need to be elevated 2 feet above the base flood elevation.
Okay. Bringing that lot up to that elevation, does that make it higher than the neighboring lots? Do you know?
I can't answer that because I don't have like an elevation survey for the property right now, so I don't know what elevation they are at. And unfortunately, we're trying to look through that on our GIS system to try to answer some of those questions, and we just can't get that layer to be active right now.
If it did bring that elevation up to being higher than the neighboring lots, would that be grounds for you to deny the building permit, or would the variance, if it was granted here tonight, still hold?
If I'm understanding your question correctly, if their lot was higher than the neighbor's lots, you're asking if we would deny a permit just on that basis? Then no, we would not deny a permit based on, a neighboring lot being lower than this lot or vice versa. The elevations of adjacent lots isn't something that we take into consideration on approving or denying a permit.
And I know, and this one, it probably doesn't apply, but I'm assuming then that they could never build an additional outbuilding on this lot.
What's that? Yeah, they would be able to apply for a permit, and we would take into consideration at that time, if there's buildable area enough for that. I know they would not be able to place a structure over top of where that secondary drain field would be located.
Okay.
But I guess I'd be tough to say never.
And is there a percentage in the county, like in R5 in Bismarck, you can cover 30% with roof. R10, you can go 40. Is there a percentage in the county that limits out there?
We do not have a lot coverage limitation in rural properties like this. It's different in our local or city limits.
Okay, thank you.
Not at this time, I don't think.
I know we already had a motion on the table to deny. Didn't get a second.
Right.
After consideration, I'll make the motion myself to deny.
Okay.
See if we can get a second on it.
I'm happy to second that.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Further discussion?
Yeah, I think that this is Jen, and one of the factors we need to consider is whether somebody caused or knew of the limitation before they purchased the property. And I think this is pretty clear that there is a limitation on the property. Another one is whether it improves the neighborhood. And we've got testimony from neighbors as well as the township raising concerns about this project.
That's kind of where I am too, Jennifer. I got the resolution of Hay Creek Township laying in front of me here, indicating that they're opposed to it, and I'm having a hard time getting past that, along with the testimony we heard earlier.
Any other discussion?
Got a question, Becky? I have a question. Is it possible just to get up?
We can't take questions at this time. Hearing's closed. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Any other discussion?
Commissioners. I'm torn on this. I guess it's 26,000 square feet, and it's true without the variance, it's a valueless lot. There's no doubt. I think where I have to look and lay my vote on this one, or my thought on this, is I've asked for variances. I've appeared before this board myself a couple of times. One time I got it, one time I didn't. And I accept that. I mean, that's what the board is for. Neither time was there any rejection or any concerns by neighbors. You know, the person who's making the variance request comes in, spends, I don't know, what is it, $400 or something? And I get it, that it's for them. But these postcards are sent out, and if your neighbors don't disagree with this, I'd have a whole lot easier time saying, I think this is the way to go. You know, go ahead and let them build. But when you've got 7 people that have, you know, took the time, I mean, what's the purpose of that letter going out saying, hey, this is what somebody wants to do? If the Board of Adjustments doesn't take that into consideration. Until this morning, when I got these other letters coming in, I was game to say, I think it should be done. But
And I'll chime in on that a little bit. I look at, there's several lots out there that are around this size, and what's gonna happen to those, and so forth. You know, we base it on square footage. We don't base it on anything else. We look at the square footage and so forth. That's what the variance is for, because it's less than what we have in the regulations right now. But we have several lots out there that are small, and, you know, maybe someone's gonna come and ask for a variance on those again sometime. I have no idea, but we try to look at it and look at the year that it was developed and so forth. It's quite a few years ago, quite a few decades. Things have changed, but, you know, the letters that we received, the drain field is a secondary thing, as we know, because that has to be approved after the fact and they come for a permit and so forth. But I will just say, you know, for the other lots that are out there, who knows what's gonna happen with those, and so forth in the future. I think you allow us to have a flood issue, and the flood elevation will change. We know that. We've had that happen a few times, and so forth. So I understand the area. It's nice, it's quiet. I've been out there several times and so forth, but, yeah. I'm with you. It's tough when you have a lot of people that are concerned about it too, and have good concerns, so. Okay, any other discussion? Motion on the table is to deny. So we have to do roll call. Just so you know, there's 4 of us online. It takes all 4 to approve it, per our regulations.
Mr.
So-
Board Member Jansen?
Yes.
So just to clarify, it takes 4 to approve a variance, it does not take 4 to
Oh,
deny,
okay.
based on century
Okay,
code.
just approval, sorry. All right. Please take roll.
Board Member Wengler,
yes.
Board Member Wool,
Yes.
Board Member Clark,
Yes.
and Chair Jansen.
Yes. So the motion has been denied. You do have the option to bring it before the city commission and have them review it, and staff will help you out if you so choose to do that. So you can get with them on that. So, thank you very much. Item number 2, Wagner 7th Edition, Block 3, Lot 1.
Thank you. Board members, Grant Helm is requesting approval of a variance from section 1404.37 of the City Code of Ordinances, R5 residential front yard for Lot 1, Block 3, Wachter 7th Edition, to reduce their front yard setback from 25 feet to 9 feet in order to construct an addition on the north side of his property. The proposed variance is located in South Bismarck, south of Bismarck Expressway and west of South Washington Street, southeast of the intersection of Cologne Drive and Reno Drive. The property is located on the corner of Cologne and Reno and was platted in 1976. The existing single-family dwelling was constructed in 1979. After the determination was made that side yards, that yards adjacent to the street on the corner lots are considered front yards, and those setbacks should be 25 feet. The single-family dwelling is set back 25 feet from both streets, measuring from their front property line. The zoning ordinance does make provisions for a modified front yard setbacks for properties platted prior to 1979. This provision requires front yard setbacks to be in context with surrounding structures. It should be noted that the surrounding structures all appear to have a 25-foot front yard setback. Therefore, this portion of the ordinance would also require a 25-foot setback along Cologne as well as Reno. The public has been notified of this request, and 48 postcards were mailed to the owners of nearby properties on February 21st. We have received some phone inquiries, just wondering kind of what's going on in the neighborhood. One noted that they were not in favor of the request, but the other ones had no preference at all. Again, pursuant to Section 140602 of the City Code of Ordinances, the Board of Adjustment may vary or adjust the strict application of any requirements of the zoning ordinance in case of an exceptionally irregular, narrow, shallow, or steep lot, or other exceptional physical or topographic conditions, by reason of which strict application of the provisions of the zoning ordinance would result in an unnecessary hardship and would deprive the owner reasonable use of land or building involved, but in no other case. No adjustment in the strict application of any provisions of the zoning ordinance shall be granted by this board unless it finds the following: that there are special circumstances or conditions that apply to the land or buildings that do not generally apply to the land or buildings within the neighborhood and have not resulted from any act of the applicant. That the strict application of the provisions of the zoning ordinance would deprive the applicant of reasonable use of said land or building. The granting of the variance is necessary for the reasonable use of land or building, and that the variance as granted by the board is the minimum variance that will require relief sought by the applicant. That the grant of the variance will be in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the zoning ordinance and will not be injurious to the neighborhood or otherwise detrimental to the public welfare. The applicant has submitted a written statement that identifies their anticipated hardship and explains why they believe the variance should be granted. That document was also included in your packet. If you choose to approve the variance as proposed, staff asks that you identify a hardship, modify the review standards or findings outlined in your staff report to support your decision. The applicant is also here and can answer any questions that you have. I'm also available if you have any questions.
Any questions of staff? At this time? Thanks, Jane. All right, the applicant, whoever's representing the applicant, if you want to come forward and state your name and shed some more light on this, that would be great.
My word, guys, that made me nervous. My name's Grant Helm. I'm the one applying for this variance. I lost everything I was going to say. I have a growing family, and I really love the location of the house that we purchased. I am looking to do an addition onto the house to help fit our needs. The amount of land that we actually have built on, we shouldn't be getting anywhere close to whatever that percentage you can have a building on it. So I'm also planning on doing an addition above the garage also, because a little bit more living space for the kids and stuff like that, and a little more garage would be nice for, bikes and things like that. Things I didn't anticipate as much. So we got a hailstorm last year, and being that I'm going to have to replace the roof, and also the sidings needs to be replaced to keep up with the aesthetics for the neighborhood, I don't want to do it twice. So I'm applying to do kind of an all-in-one build. So it was rushed more than I wanted. I was also told that this variance might be up for a vote to maybe not have the variance in the neighborhood or something like that. I guess it's hearsay at that point, so it might come up at the end of the year. But yeah, I would like to have a little more room for my family. Thank you.
Okay.
Do you have questions?
I have a couple questions. So the addition you're going to put on, is it 2 stories or is it 1, since you're building over the garage?
2. It would
2.
be a garage and then above.
Okay.
The actual layout of the actual house itself actually lines up pretty good to do an addition.
Second question, don't you have the same option to go and build to the backside of the garage?
It does get closer to the,
Are you still not far enough away from the setback?
it's not that far from the back also. So what is the setback on the back of your, from lot?
Yeah.
It's a narrow lot, so it'll get very close.
Well, I'm looking, you have a fence back there, right?
I do.
So is that fence line, property line back there?
It should be.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions of Mr. Helm?
There are also other houses in the neighborhood that are built prior to when mine was, let's say 1978, that are beyond that setback. So I didn't know that rule existed. So when I first came up with this idea, then I found out I had applied for a variance. So there are other houses in the neighborhood that are like that are built closer than 25 feet.
How long have you lived at that location?
Probably about 3 years. It's way more child-friendly than my last neighborhood.
Yeah. Any other questions of Mr. Helm? Thank you.
You can see that I asked it go out to, sorry, I did ask to go out, so it really reduce it to 9 feet. It does not have to go out that far. That was just something I thought to make another stall for garage. So that's the reason why I said that number. It doesn't have to go out that far, but that would be, more use of the space. So that's the number I put down.
Okay. All right.
So you're looking to add another 16 feet is about what you're amounting to?
Yes.
Because it's currently 25?
Yep.
And I feel for you on this one. I lived on a corner for 42 years, and the east side of my property, I'd have given that to anybody who wanted it, because I mowed it, took care of the drive, or the garage, took care of or the sidewalk, the weeds, never used the darn thing.
Right.
I mean, I never used it. I would have given it to anybody just so I wouldn't have to take care of it. I mean, it was a big portion of my yard that I never got used for. But when I looked, I was down and I looked at the property, and when you look east on Cologne.
Lines up. I know.
It lines up.
I know.
And I did get a variance. I put a garage on my house and I got a variance, but I only got 4 feet, enough to move out to what matches the front of my existing house. That was 21 feet back, so I got that variance to go to 21. I was, tossed up. I didn't know for sure if I'd get that or not. I was tickled to get that. So I feel for you on having that 25 feet on that side then.
I know it's a lot, so I do, but I can't really go back, so I thought aesthetically going out sideways would be the best way to do it.
And south wouldn't work for you? Well, I suppose,
South is
okay,
the
if you
house.
want garage, I guess moving south on that build wouldn't do
Yeah,
anything.
the way the house is designed, it's 3 bedrooms up, and I got 3 kids, so I was looking to put something above that, another bedroom and so on.
So mainly the additional living space would be above the existing garage?
Yes.
And then just more garage / storage?
Right, I'm
On
trying
the
to
north
avoid
side.
building another shed outside, because I got a snow blower and stuff like that that are right now in the backyard. So when it snows, I have to open a gate in the backyard, bring it all the way through the grass, and then snow blow the front, and then
Been there,
bring it
done
back. So I got 2 larger vehicles, I guess, in the garage, so I can't put my snow blower in there, so.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
So do we
Mr.
have anybody that's?
Chairman?
Yes.
I have a question for staff when it's appropriate to ask.
Okay, you're good right now if you'd like.
Can you help me understand what I read? Am I correct that had this house been built 1 year earlier, we wouldn't have had this problem?
Board Member Clark, not necessarily. There's provisions in the ordinance that would allow for the setback to be reduced based on the adjacent properties. If they were built closer, we could look and we call it a contextual setback. From what I can understand from the ordinance prior to 79, there was a determination made that your front yard was your front yard, and even if you're on your corner, it was a side yard, but I believe that setback was also 20 feet. So all the homes that were constructed after really that determination, and it appears that they're all in line with 25 feet.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know if we have any public comments on this one because I don't see anybody in here, but there's nobody online that would ask questions, is there?
No, not that I'm
Okay.
aware of. Thank you.
Okay. So we'll close the public comments this time. I do have a question of staff before we, are there any other parcels that are in violation of this setback in that particular area?
Board Member Jansen, we were able to run a couple searches. There is a property on Eastwood Drive, 1438 Eastwood Drive. It's on a corner lot. It appears to almost have the same building footprint as the applicant's home. We did some digging and went back into our records, and it appears that, yes, it is built into the setback. However, there was a zoning violation letter issued to the owner back in 2000 from then building official Bill Augusted. So it was recognized that that is in violation and did not meet the setbacks at the time it was built.
And I'm assuming there's some stipulations if they ever did anything that they would have to correct that at some point if they remodeled or whatever.
Yes, Board Member, that is what the letter says.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Board would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
as much as I'd love to say, I think it's a great idea, I'm going to have to make a motion to deny the applicant. I just don't think moving out that close to the street, I think it sets a bad precedent all over town. And I know that 25-foot setback on two sides is a bugger, but I have to make a motion to
Okay.
deny.
Do I have a second on the motion?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any further discussion?
One of my reservations is, Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
Yes, please.
One of my reservations is, it sounds like the variance being requested is not the minimum required.
Okay,
Because I would really like to grant this too. I think it's an improvement to the house. I think it's an improvement to the neighborhood. It's not of his own making. It's not a problem that he created.
My struggle with this, I guess, is I'm sure the owner was not aware of this when they purchased the home 3 years ago. But it has been the way the ordinance has been forced since 1979. And, you know, is this a hardship or isn't it? The home serves its purpose as it is. It may not serve the purpose of the owner as well as he'd like it. Is moving to a new location a hardship? I guess you could make that argument, but that might be the answer here. I just don't see that we have a situation where the property can't be used as a single-family home, and that's, you know, really what the purpose of the property is.
And I think this is probably for Jenny, if this is denied, he could come back and request a modified plan on this? I mean, you said it could be.
I would love to modify it. It does not have to be that big.
Okay, and then my question would be is, can he modify here if we were to approve that? I think I could lay in with a few feet. I think he may probably have to go east with some of that storage area. I mean, if you're already going up on top, your roof lines can accommodate whatever your building is. You know, I think I could say 5 feet to the north, or 7 feet to the 6 feet, 8 feet to the north, maybe, okay. But 16, I just think it's crowding the street, and I think it's,
yeah.
so my question now is if we were to grant a variance that's different than this, is that a whole new application process?
Board Member Wangler, Mr. Chairman, board members, what you could do today is withdraw your motion. You can talk through with the applicant, open up that hearing again, talk through with the applicant what the minimum that he would be able to do to meet his needs, and then you can take action on that request. You can modify the request. We don't need to come back here next month for a new variance.
With that in mind, I would be willing to withdraw my motion if Mr. Wall would. Well, just for further discussion.
Yes, I will withdraw my second on that.
Further discussion, okay. Motion's been made and seconded. Suppose I better do a roll call on that, or not? Yeah, let's do a roll call on that.
Board Member Wangler,
Yes.
Board Member Wool,
Yes.
Board Member Clark,
Yes.
and Chair Jansen.
Yes. So you can come back and,
Do you want me to stand up again?
yes, please.
Okay.
By the mic so everyone can hear.
Hello.
Thank you.
I'm willing to go I just threw a number out there. It doesn't have to go that big. I didn't know I had to be very precise because I didn't know. So it doesn't matter if it's back or side. I just need to know where can I go to make it a little bit bigger if I can.
Let me ask you a question just to get the ball rolling a little bit. So you're gonna go on top of the garage for more living space.
Yes,
So that takes care of more room that you need.
yes,
So your big concern is what are you gonna do with your other items that you need? You need them in the garage and have access and reasonable access and so forth.
correct.
Could you not just put something off the back of the garage in a corner to house those particular items, keep it pretty small, and then, either put a sidewalk around the north end of that garage, so you have nice access to bring out the snow blower or whatever else?
You can, but it will still be in the backyard. I'm trying to avoid.
But you
putting
wouldn't
it-
have to go in the backyard very big just for that,
So
if that's what you wanted.
That
Or do you
is-
need a need for another vehicle?
I do not need a need for another vehicle.
So you need some place to store your snow blower and,
Like I do have a work truck, and it would be nice to not have it in the driveway, but
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm not fighting. That's tier 1 problems.
I'm trying to say, how about we don't even put that on, you do the upper level, and can we do something off the back corner of that garage a little bit to house those particular little items that you need access to, nice reasonable access to?
We could
I don't
probably do
know.
that. Yeah.
That way you wouldn't even need, you'd be well within your limits.
Yeah.
Just a thought, I'm trying to figure out what you have, what you need, and so
Yep.
forth.
Yep.
We know we can't accommodate everything,
I
But-
appreciate it.
just trying to make it happen for you.
So a little bit more would be nice, but it
Yeah.
doesn't either direction.
And I don't know how big you'd have to be if you went off the back corner of the garage a little bit to house the snow blower and whatever else you have.
Not much.
Not much, and I
But
would think we'd be well within the setback, on the setback.
I've been just roughly scaling with the scale on the drawing here or the photo. There's probably at least 12 feet to work with. It looks
Yeah.
like to me. I don't know if that sounds right to you. Do you know how far it is from the back of your garage to the approximate property line?
my guess is probably 20 feet, 20 or 25, one of the two.
Oh, let's see, that's 25. Yeah, you're at least 25, I'm sure.
Yeah, it seemed like it's more like,
So what I'm saying is, and you could open up between the garage and that little part for your things, so if your garage is heated, then
That
those
is
items are heated.
one of the projects, so when I start designing things, that is one of the things that's
Yeah.
going to happen. So, but I needed to know where I can go, and I just threw a number out there, so I apologize.
No, that's fine. We gotta start someplace, but you could double check, see where the property line is, see how far it is, and see how much room you have to stay. You can get the setback information from staff to check that, and build on there. You don't have to go real high with it then,
Right?
and so forth, and just open it up to the garage, so if you have it heated, you can do that. And
Okay.
I mean, just as an option,
Yep.
so,
Mr. Chair,
yes.
do I understand that this option that you're throwing out there would negate the requirement for a variance?
I would say yes, as long as he doesn't go out the back. He stays within the requirements in the back there, which I think he has enough room to, but, hang on, Jenny has a comment to make, clarify, I guess.
Just to clarify, looking at the plat and how the building was constructed, so we've got the 25-foot front yard on the north and on the west. We would consider or could consider a side yard setback along the east side of the property. That side yard setback is only 6 feet. If he had his 20-foot rear yard setback on the south side of the property.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
that makes. So,
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
procedurally, could we table this so that we're not,
yeah,
I have a concern about making a decision, denying his request, thinking that he can do something else, and then he'd have to refile again.
Right.
And the expense associated with that.
right. No, I think that's a good idea. So why don't we table it? we'll have to have a motion to do that and so forth. And have you, we understand building over the garage, but come back with what you'd like to do in the back, and you can work with staff to make sure you're well within your, measurements back there, and so forth. Jenny's gonna add one more thing.
Thank you. Just a clarifying question procedurally for staff. Would the proposed addition extend into any setbacks then? Are you proposing, Mr. Helm, to continue to ask for a reduction in your front yard setback along the north side of the property?
Did not understand that.
Okay.
Where you've drawn your addition,
Yeah.
that would disappear. You would not be requesting that anymore. You would be doing
I'd be
something
going back
back off. the
5
back.
feet or whatever.
Still adhering to the front yard setback, you wouldn't project any further than where the garage is right now on the north side of the property, adjacent to Cologne, correct?
Correct.
Then there's no need for a variance if we
Right.
can make it.
But to Ms. Clark's, idea to table it, and he can work with staff and come back, and we can say, that's fine if he needs a variance, and see what he has and rule on that, if he needs one,
Sure.
so.
Do you want to table it to the next meeting or
Yeah, let's
give it?
table it till
okay.
the next meeting. How will that work for you time-wise? It's gonna be, we'll get the information in 2 weeks and have a week to review, and we have another meeting, so.
I might be on the road for work, so it kind of makes it a little bit harder.
Well, can he work with staff and get that laid out? You can inform us if there's any issues with that and so forth, or if everything is fine. Will that work?
That'll
So,
work.
work with them, get it to them as fast as you can.
Absolutely.
And, okay,
All right.
so, a motion to table it? Someone wanna
I'll
make
second.
it? You wanna
Or
make the
I'll
motion?
make the motion
Okay.
to table it.
We'll just, it's either gonna disappear or reappear.
Yeah, I was just giving Jennifer a chance if she wanted to be the second, but I'm good with that. I'll second it.
Okay. Motion's been
You
made.
can understand why I might be a little hesitant.
No, thank you. Okay, take roll call?
Board Member Wengler,
Yes.
Board Member Wolf,
Yes.
Board Member Clark,
Yes.
and Chair Jansen.
Yes. Thank you, so,
Pleasure.
yes. Under other business, we have the 2025 bylaws. We're looking to hold that till the next meeting, when
Sorry.
everyone can be present, probably.
We can,
or-
we can act on it now. I'm not proposing any changes, but if
Okay.
you guys want to take another stab at it, and we will likely have a meeting next month, then we can make any kind of formal adoption next month. Whatever you guys decide.
Mr. Chairman, I'd move to approve them as distributed unless
Okay,
you think it's important that we have more time to review them.
doesn't matter to me either way. We have a motion to approve the bylaws, 2025 bylaws. Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay, any further discussion? Take roll, please.
Board Member Wengler,
Yes.
Board Member Wolf,
Yes.
Board Member Clark,
Yes.
and Chair Jansen.
Yes. Any other items that we have that we need to address?
Did we vote to approve minutes from the last meeting? Or was that on the
Yep.
agenda?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, nothing else? We're good? We will adjourn. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Yep, thank you.